Howdy, everybody. Welcome back to Jailbait and Tackle Outdoors. Another episode of Story Time. It is extremely windy down here, so if you hear a lot of wind and it's not the optimal sound you would like or expect, I apologize. Uh, my opportunities to film nowadays with a full-time job is very much limited. But this is a pretty funny story time. This involves uh, a practical joke, a prank, whatever you want to call it, uh, orchestrated by my trooper friend Ronnie Williams, who's now deceased. Um, his parents bought a condominium in Pike Creek, Delaware. It was like close to like Hockessin, Delaware, like a little bit of money up that way, and we moved into Birch Point condominium. So it was a really nice place. Really nice place. It was new, so it was still nice. I could foresee that falling apart. I think the contractors probably cut some corners here and there, but while we lived there, it was a really nice place. So I believe we were on the second floor of this, and it had a beautiful balcony, overlooked like a wooded valley. It was really nice. We had a fireplace, a wood fireplace in there. It was really nice. And then there was a spiral staircase going up to a loft area, and there was pretty much like a little tiny, um, what do I want to call it, like almost like a storage room. I I pretty much rented the loft area. I had my couch, my love seat, my coffee table, all that stuff. So I had all that. And it was a little. I just put like a little twin mattress on the floor in that little storage room, whatever you want to call it. And it was fine for me. The thing I liked about that, I was working crazy shift hours, and when you shut the door, it was dark. It was, even during the daytime. So I really needed that because it's really hard to sleep during the daytime if you have noise and daylight coming in on you. So anyway, let's get on with the story. So my buddy Ronnie, he at that point he was a trooper, and before we were dispatchers together, we were really good friends. We did a lot of craziness together. Like I wish I could share some of the crazy things we did on here, but most of them probably wouldn't meet the requirements. But um, he approaches me one day and he says, "Hey, Ed's brother, who was a good friend of his, really nice guy. He was a real big. Ed was a big wig. It was Ecker Drugs, and then went on to become Rite Aid. I believe that was the sequence. But he was like a general manager, pretty, high rolling executive for them. And he said his brother Glenn's getting out of the army and needs a place to live. So he goes, "Do you care?" I was like, "No, he's coming out of the army. He must be squared away. It's all good with me." Ronnie and I were both very clean at that time, and we had a lot of um, respect for each other. We did a lot of fun things together. Uh, so anyway, the so shortly after Glenn moves in, uh, we realize he is pretty much, whether it's him trying to rebel from being in the army, where he had to, be in a regiment and thing, but pretty much he was pretty much a lazy butt. Didn't clean, ate other people's food. Like Ronnie and I never had a problem with either of us eating each other's food. Occasionally we would do like shared meals together. It was all good. You can hear this wind whipping up. It's been crazy. I wouldn't say hurricane winds, but there's a lot of branches, big branches on trees that we must have had some microburst or something like that going on. But it's been very windy. It's not going to calm down until 8 or 9 p.m. But so I'm trying to squeeze one in here on you guys here. Uh, Anyway, so Glenn was always stealing other people's food. He would eat it, and when we weren't around, Ronnie worked shift work. I worked shift work. We didn't work the identical same type shifts, but Glenn, when he first moved there, he pretty much did not have a job, and it was just crazy. It was just like that guy was. Glenn was a smoker. I didn't care, as long didn't as long as it doesn't impede in my my daily life. I'm okay with it. I don't care what you do. And back then, we were young, thinking we're invincible, so we really didn't care a whole lot. I didn't smoke. Ronnie did occasionally. Glenn smoked a lot, all the time. So Ronnie had this real nice Lazy Boy recliner that he loved. It was his baby. It was his condo basically. It was his parents' condo, and he had some nice furniture in there. And uh, Ronnie was always coming to me with like little problems or issues. He's like, "Hey, did you do this?" I'm like, "No." He's like, and then one day there was a burn in his Lazy Boy, from obviously from like a cigarette. He goes, "Did you do that?" I'm like, "Ronnie, why do you even have to be that stupid to ask me?" No, I don't smoke at all, uh, so he realized it was Glenn, and Glenn was, obviously eating everybody's food and stuff like that. So uh, he would never do the dishes. He would leave like backwash in a beer bottle around, put his cigarette butts in there, just never would do the dishes. They would just pile up. He got to be real PIA. If you know what that means, you know what I'm trying to say. Trying to slide one by here on YouTube. But so then Ronnie loved eating ice cream. I was never really a big ice cream eater because of my digestive issues, which started around the same time of all this you know occurring. Probably I was probably 26, 27 years old, whatever it was, and so we decided we're going to get Glenn. It was more so Ronnie's like game plan. But I'm saying, I agree with it 100%. Let's roll with it. So what we did was he had one of those. I think it was like a half gallon or a gallon, whatever those Breyer's ice cream thing was, that had already been eaten out of. So we leave it out to melt, and then Ronnie and I'm not going to pass the buck. We both participated in this event. We got some of the cigarette ashes from the ashtray, the backwash from the beer bottles, and the soapy stuff. Every little bit of scum that was in that sink, we put it in with the ice cream. When it all melted, we stirred it all up. You really couldn't see. And then we refroze it. So sure as heck, good old Glenn. He like the next day, uh, Ronnie's like, "You didn't eat the ice cream, did you?" I'm like, "No, I don't eat the ice cream." So uh, Glenn was gone. So we proceed to go into his room, and he had literally had a bag of trash in there of all the food he'd been stealing from Ronnie, like Pop Tarts, and there was an empty container of the ice cream and stuff like that. So we were laughing our butt off now because he ate the rest of the ice cream that was like beer backwash, cigarette ashes, soap scum from the like just all the filthiness that could come from a sink, that's not properly cleansed. But anyway, that's a true story, and I'm keeping this under 10 minutes. So that's what we did, and we own it, and that's what happened. Eventually, he finally did. I think he did get removed from the residence there after a while, but his brother was a really nice guy. Glenn, unfortunately, was a lazy individual. Surprised he never got kicked out of the Army. Peace out, folks. Remember, always know your legal limits and talk to a stranger when you find time. Thank you.